We can have those images on the screen as well very soon. There you see Prime Minister Modi arriving at COP28 for the Global Climate Action Summit, which is supposed to commence in just a short while from now. There he's been greeted by the leaders there. The PM had arrived on Thursday night, in fact, in Dubai to participate in this particular event, and there are other events lined up for the PM as well, apart from bilateral meetings, but this is the prime one. This is where the stock take will take place, where the PM will be later addressing the other leaders who've gathered here as well. The UAE is the host here, and they've invited world leaders from all over the globe for this particular session, which is the main event where it is to be figured out as to how far has the world got in terms of all the commitments that were made during the Paris COP, the Paris Agreement. How far off is it? And it's already been determined by the United Nations that a lot of the countries are way behind their commitments in terms of what they had said that they will be doing to combat climate change. India, fortunately, is not among them because we've been very, very proactive as far as meeting our renewable energy goals are concerned, safeguarding and even greening, further greening our forests and lands is concerned, preserving our wildlife is concerned, our ocean life. In all these areas, India has been ahead of all the commitments that it had made in terms of 2030. And that is something that the Prime Minister, I'm sure, will put across and even make suggestions as to what should be done really in terms of how other nations could also meet their commitments. This is what we can expect, isn't it, Tapas?
Yes, absolutely. And, Gautam, just to put it into perspective, the way Prime Minister Narendra Modi has led from the front when it comes to, renewable energy. And, Mission Life has not just become a buzzword in India, but has become a buzzword in the world. In fact, we were talking about this sustainable development. It used to be something kind of a lip service, but now everybody now look up to Prime Minister Narendra Modi to give them the leadership to make sure that sustainable development is the buzzword, is the goal. Just to put into perspective, the individual carbon footprint of individual is in India is not even half of what is there in average. Average is probably in the region of 6 point something. In India, it's close to 2 point something.
You can see the PM is...
You still do not have that.
Yes, go ahead, Tapas. I was just trying to comment on the images that we're getting now live. The PM meeting Antonio Guterres there as well.
Yes, the Prime Minister just met the COP. Yes, Prime Minister just met the COP president as well as UN Secretary General Guterres. So, it's a photo that just took place. And, as I mentioned, the COP president, he had a word earlier also when Prime Minister came in UAE a couple of months back. If I'm not wrong, a couple of months back, Prime Minister was here. And, COP president met him and he asked him personally to come here. It was quite a cordial meeting that happened.
Absolutely. Now, when we talk about UAE, what the world is looking at, that what can be the possible outcome of UAE? Why? Because UAE is known for oil. So people are expecting or questioning that if in case the summit is happening in UAE, how can there be commitments that are related to the green energy, green infrastructure. But yes, the kind of sovereign wealth fund the UAE has, more than $2.3 trillion. So that's massive. And it is now time that these countries come forward. They invest in capacities that are related to green so that people can incentivize more. So that's the key word, and that is what we're expecting. Second, when Indian Prime Minister is here, as I mentioned earlier also, that he's an important link between developing and developed economies. So he's going to play that collaborative approach kind of a role, because in his interview to a local newspaper here, he's clearly mentioned this point that climate change has not been done by any one country. When it was done by collective, efforts, the climate change has happened, and human actions are, resulting into this climate action, the climate change. So now it is time that every country should collaborate. There has to be collaborative approach. There has to be equity distribution as far as the technology is concerned, as far as climate actions are concerned, there has to be justice as far as climate change.
Climate justice is the buzzword,
Yes.
isn't it?
So climate change justice is the buzzword. So how Prime Minister Narendra Modi will put into perspective and bringing all these nations together and to convince these nations that come forward, don't shy away from committing your roles and responsibility, because you have developed now. Now it is your duty, your role to come forward and of course share your money, share technology so that the underdeveloped countries can also take away from this development.
Yeah, Prashant sir is also there. Gautam just wanted to get his quick reaction. Prashant, we talk about green credit, and there is already, lead IT that's Prime Minister is going to take part on that. It's already we have a discussion with India and Sweden. Give us a perspective of how these things is expected to be a major game changer in COP28.
No, these are a major game changer in fact, and India, the government of India has already brought CCTS, carbon credit trading scheme, and the way we have led the renewable energy deployment in the country and become a role model for everyone. I think these are all very important initiatives, and our Prime Minister has rightly said, in fact, this morning that India is probably the only country which walks the talk.
Yeah.
So I think that's important to remember, because whatever we are saying, we have done that, we have demonstrated that. And because India has been able to meet most of its commitment, whether it is coming from renewable energy, a deployment of renewable energy, or reducing the carbon intensity. See, our global average for a carbon intensity is less than the 60% of the global average, right? So we are actually at the right side of the line, and still the country as such, or our global south as such, is struggling. So that is the point which is pondered, and that's why our Honorable Prime Minister, he has become the voice of the global south, because is this kind of ecosystem is there in probably every developing country, and every developing country is now started to aspire and inspire for economic growth now. So you can't draw a line at this point of a time for them, because that's what we talk about. It's a common but differentiated responsibilities, right?
It is. I just wanted to get your, we will be getting the green credit program very soon as a company, as your renewable energy, company. How is it important to get this sort of impetus?
It's very, very important for us, because for all the renewable energy, Avada has been there. I told that we have developed 1.26 gigawatt of a single largest location plant, and I'll tell you one thing, because one of our important aspect in our journey has been one of our second largest plant, solar plant of that time in the world, 152 megawatt, which our Honorable Prime Minister inaugurated in way back in 2014, and where he unfolded this entire regime of a renewable energy of that time. So I think his vision is getting translated. For us, who is developing more renewable energy, we are going for a very huge 5 million ton of green hydrogen national mission for it, which will require about 1.25 gigawatt of renewable electricity. And we are generating so much, which is in addition to 50 gigawatt of renewable energy tenders which are being brought out by the government of India every year. So we have so much of a renewable energy which could be converted as a part of our carbon credit program to be given to the global north.
Just wanted to put in perspective, there is also the corridor, the energy corridor that has been set up, and especially the renewable energy corridor. I will get your perspective first. Let me get Arun in that. Arun, we talk about energy conservation, renewable energy, but it can't be in the silos. It has to be the corridor has to be put there. It has to be end-to-end solution. How does that work?
So when you talk about the corridor, how it works, the way sun moves. So the vision is very huge and very massive when you talk about Indian Prime Minister's vision. What he's saying that when a shipment moves from this point to this point, the way the sun is moving, so every logistical part or the transportation part should be solar driven or green capacity driven. So if a truck is moving, the truck has to be the green truck or the hydrogen truck. Secondly, if in case a train is moving, the train has to be green capacity in nature. So the transportation has to be completely green in nature, and therefore the collaboration has to be done between the countries. Number two, let's just simplify this credit point for our viewers who are sitting remotely anywhere in the world. The way we are spending by credit card. Suppose if I am doing shopping of 1,000 rupees, I get some points where I can redeem these points for my future shopping purposes or for movie ticket for any purposes. Similar way, Prime Minister Narendra Modi or the the world is talking about incentivizing. That's the key word now. Why? Because when I put up the capacity, the green capacity, I should get some points so that I can redeem it further. For example, a Tata Group or any other Indian conglomerate or any group, if it is enhancing or building the capacities, the startups are building the capacities that is green in nature, they should be given some points. And that's the nature, because government will be coming out with some of the parameters that if in case you are building a green capacities under these parameters. So you're getting some points which you can redeem further for your future infrastructure, capacity enhancement, capacity expansion, and that is going to benefit the conglomerates and also common person like you, me, and many millions of people there. Because if I'm putting a solar rooftop on my roof, the solar panels, I'll also be getting the credit point, and which I can redeem.
Yes,
Yes,
because
we're,
if you're getting a solar rooftop,
Tapas, we're again getting the images of Prime Minister Modi on the
Yes, go ahead.
screen heading into that summit, the Global Climate Action Summit. And at this point, we will thank you, but do join us just around a bend of a break for all the updates related to COP28 that's taking place in Dubai, where India's Prime Minister Modi is also participating in the headline event.